Hi, this is David Odell with Odell Complete Concrete. And what we're doing is adding to an existing patio, which happened to be brick, manufactured used brick, white flash, which is not a whole lot of white left on it. It's been there about 15-20 years. And remember, this is part 2 of a 2-part series. The first part we showed actual installation of the concrete base for this patio addition. Now here's all the brick we've stockpiled. We've got around 500 brick here. I've got a wet saw here with a 10-inch diamond blade on it, which is perfect for brick. And there's my Hilti with a mixing paddle to mix up my thin set, and I also will mix a little bit of spec mix with the thin set. It dries a little bit quicker that way, and also you can go a little bit thicker. Thin set dries very slow by itself, but it really adheres really well. So between the two of those mixed together, I have a really good product. So here's the brick trim. We're going to do a soldier course brick band around the whole perimeter, around the radius planners, along the block wall perimeter. The step will have a soldier course. Now on these bricks right here, I'm going to have to bevel them a bit so they'll fit this radius nicely. And if you notice, I have my water pump in a bucket of water rather than in the base. I like to circulate clean water through the pump. They last a lot longer that way than pulling up the brick dust and recirculating. So what I do is I just run clean water, and then I dispose of the water that it catches in the pan. And then your pump will last for a long time. This is a brand new blade I put on here, and it's really cutting it like butter. So what I'll do is I'll set the whole perimeter first, and that'll give me elevation. And then when I start to set the field, I'll pull lines all the way across and set to that line height. So we're going to do thin set. We're going to do about 3-to-1 ratio. 3 thin sets, 1 spec mix. And there's the mix consistency that I like. Now the spec mix was crucial on this little lift here, so I had to do a little bit of a build up. About a 1/2 inch, and that's maybe 3/8, and that's your actual mortar width, looking at it from the end view of that step. Now these bricks are a lot wider, have a lot more white because they are new manufactured bricks with white flash. And we're going to have to remove a lot of that to match the existing patio where there's not a whole lot of white left. And I sampled a few bricks with some muriatic acid, and that seemed to remove it pretty good. Also, pressure washer removes it well, and belt sanders. So we're going to be using muriatic acid to get rid of a lot of this white after we get everything laid, and a combination of the pressure washer, because we're going to remove about 50% of all the white on these bricks. Yeah, I've got the 4-foot Milwaukee red stick. That's a good straight edge for this. Also, I have the 6-footer as well that I'll be using. But look how much wider this brick is than the brick that's been sitting there. That's from just cleaning over the years and wear and tear. Now if you want them to stay white like this, you put them vertically, not on the ground. Over here on one of the existing footings for the original build they had, I had to chip a little excess mortar off to get my new brick to sit down nicely. Now from the existing patio to the channel drain, we didn't have a lot of slope. We had about 1 inch in 10 feet. That's not very much, especially with the brick. A rubber mallet is a nice item to have when you have to pound the brick down. Or you can use just the wood side of your little sledgehammer. Yeah, you don't want to use the steel side, it'll crack the brick. And now I've got in combination the 6-foot straight edge and the 4-foot. One other detail that I forgot to mention, that the property line wall and the existing patio are on a skew, so at one end it's wider than the other end. So as I come work this way, I'm going to have to cheat my joints. That way we can come out evenly without cutting a lot of bricks. Now what I've done is I've pulled a string line all the way back from the existing joints on the patio, and I brought that all the way through to my band height. So now I have elevation and I have a straight line that's consistent with what's already been built. Now that's a basket weave pattern right there. The perimeter is a soldier course. The other brick, the existing patio, had been hit with some Thompson's water seal, so you can see it's a little bit of a darker red, and that's from the oil-based sealer. Now, as we got close to that radius of the planter, we kind of rough cut those in initially. It's better to have them a little large than small. So what you do at the end after this sets up before you grout is you run, what I do is I run my 1/2 inch crack chaser blade through the joints just to make them perfectly even all the way around that radius. That existing patio had somewhat of a valley in it too, from that little shower stall, outdoor shower stall straight ahead there where you see the hinge. That's out backwards from that point, and the rest sloped the other way, so it created a valley, and everything comes off right about where I'm working right now. That's kind of the valley point of getting it out of the existing patio and across to the channel drain. So all that, it's hard to see it from here, but there's actually a valley that continues through the new brick from the old, and it wraps around to that channel drain. And see, the control joint there that I put on the concrete happens to be right within a joint of the brick. So if it were to crack, it will just crack within the joint and not on the brick. See, every other course, I'll pull a line just to keep them going straight with the existing patio. Also, that works as my elevation. Occasionally, we'll take a line and pull it all the way through both directions and just do a little fine tuning on the bricks. And that's the beauty of thin set, because it dries slower. You can still move them around for about an hour. So right here we're cutting along the inside edge of the soldier course, because the width, as I was saying earlier, from the existing patio to the wall vary from side end to end. So now we're just trimming a little bit off of the brick to make it fit. Now when I get ready to grout this, when I looked at the mortar from the existing patio, it looked like they used about a 20 grit silica. So that's what I'm going to go with here, 20 grit silica with plastic cement. My ratio on that is 2 parts of the silica to 1 part of cement. And I won't be using a grout bag on this at all. I'll just be mixing it in a wheelbarrow and I'll be dumping it right on top and spreading it around. I actually just dumped the wheelbarrow, spread it around with a square point shovel, and then sponge off the excess. And before I dump the grout down, I'll wet the brick a little bit with a water hose. Not over wet, just moist. You don't want puddles of water, you just want it to be moist. Once this grout cures out, I'll come back, hit it with some acid, about 50-50 water to acid mix. Brush it around and pressure wash to remove a lot of the white off the bricks. So my son's finishing up the end there, and I'm starting grouting already at the beginning. It's a lot easier to grout this way than using grout bags. When you have a large area like this, just dump it on there, spread it out with a shovel, and clean off the excess with a sponge. Dump, spread, and sponge. I had quite a few brick left over because I didn't deduct those little planter holes on each side. So we left those because the homeowner wanted to build a couple little odds and ends around the house out of the brick. But there it is, tied in real nice with the existing patio. The slope maintained about the same slope as the patio. And there's the little shelf set underneath the brick. And then he'll put some lawn in there. That's the idea of putting some lawn in there, and you have a 6-inch step down to the lawn. Here's where it comes into your channel drain. I don't believe we've acid washed it yet, or did we at this point? No, we haven't really acid washed it yet to take off some of that white, but we're going to show that in a minute here. Here's the acid now. I'm going to go about half water to acid. It's going to remove some of this white stuff real quick. And then wherever it doesn't remove it, I'll really get in tight with the pressure washer to remove more. I always like to add the water to the sprayer first. If you add the acid first, it's kind of toxic when you breathe, when you get that in your face. So you got to add the water first. So we hit it with the acid, brushed it around, and now we're gonna really dial in on the bricks that have a lot of white on them. Blast it off. But here it is, now that we've got a lot of the white removed. It looks a lot closer to the aged patio now. Anyway, that wraps it up. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and don't forget to subscribe.